You have survived battles that should have ended you. You have walked through fires that others could not bear. You have been hit by storms that left no trace of mercy. And yet, you are still here, still breathing, still rising, still chosen. This is not random survival. This is divine evidence, the proof that you were marked before birth, set apart for a mission that hell itself could not cancel. I want you to pause and feel this truth. Your scars are not symbols of weakness. They are seals of survival. Every tear you cried, every night you spent wondering if you would make it, every time you thought you had reached the end. Those moments were not signs of defeat. They were the fingerprints of destiny pressing you into alignment with your calling. And in this message, I will show you why your survival matters. I will show you the hidden reason you were preserved, while others fell. I will reveal the truth that most miss, the final revelation that will change the way you see every battle you've endured. So listen closely, lean in, because heaven is speaking, because destiny is confirming you, because you are about to understand why you survived what was meant to kill you. Now, before we step deeper into this journey, if your spirit is already stirring, if you feel heaven tugging on your heart, then act in faith right now. Like this message, subscribe, and type 777 in the comments, because 7 is the number of divine completion. And today, heaven is completing something in your life. Let's begin. There were moments when it felt like everything around you was burning. The heat was overwhelming, the trials unrelenting, the pain so heavy you wondered if you would survive another day. The fire came in many forms: betrayal, loss, rejection, broken dreams. Each flame whispered, "This is the end. You won't recover. This time it will consume you." And yet, here you are, breathing, standing, rising. The fire was never meant to destroy you. It was meant to reveal you. Like gold refined in the furnace, it burned away illusions so the eternal within could shine. Like silver in the crucible, it exposed the reflection of the divine in you. This is why Isaiah declares, "When you walk through the fire, you shall not be burned, and the flame shall not consume you." Isaiah 43:2. That verse is not distant poetry. It is prophecy written over your life. The fire rose, but it was not permitted to win. Yes, it scorched attachments. Yes, it left unseen marks, but it could not erase your destiny. Think of Elijah on Mount Carmel. He stood before a nation divided, built an altar, laid the sacrifice, and prayed. When fire fell from heaven, it did not consume Elijah. It consumed the altar. The prophet was never the target. The proof was, that is your story too. The fire was not after your destruction. It was after proof. Proof you were marked. Proof heaven had the final word. Look at your scars differently. They are not weakness. They are seals of survival. Every wound, every memory of pain is evidence you walked through what should have ended you, and carried out treasures only forged in fire. The fire was not punishment. It was preparation. God allowed you to feel the heat but refused to let it consume you, because you are His. This is why your eyes carry stories words cannot explain. This is why your voice has weight, even in a whisper. You walked through flames and came out with more than you had before. If the fire didn't kill you, your story is not finished. If the flames could not consume you, destiny is still unfolding. Pause for a moment. Reflect on the fires you survived, the nights of hidden tears, the mornings when rising felt impossible, the seasons when you thought it was over, yet you made it through. That was not random strength. It was divine preservation. The voice of eternity saying, "Not this one. This one belongs to me." You are fireproof, not because you are unbreakable, but because you are accompanied. The Almighty walked with you into the flames and refused to let them take your life. So now the question rises, if fire could not consume you, what about the storms? What about the waves that rose without warning, threatening to drown your soul? What about the moments when life's waters crashed so violently you could barely breathe? The fire was only the beginning. The storm is the next revelation, and what was hidden there will shake you even more than the fire. After the fire came the storm. Waves rose higher than your strength. Winds roared louder than your prayers. Lightning split the sky and shook the ground beneath you. You remember it. Nights when your soul felt tossed back and forth. Mornings when you woke with no anchor, drifting through uncertainty. Days when you wondered if you would ever see the shore again. Storms are designed to disorient. They spin you until you can't tell which way is forward. They shake you until you question if heaven still hears you. They blind you with rain and fear, hoping you'll surrender. And yet, you did not drown. The waves did not bury you. The winds did not scatter you. You are still here. The storm was not sent to destroy you. It was meant to reveal the one who commands the seas. Remember the disciples on the Sea of Galilee? The storm raged, waves crashed into the boat, fear gripped their hearts, and Jesus, asleep, was awakened. He rose, stretched out his hand, and said, "Peace, be still." Instantly, the storm obeyed. Mark 4:39. That story was written into your life. Every storm you faced was an invitation to witness divine peace. The winds screamed chaos, but heaven whispered calm. The storm roared death, but the Spirit spoke life. If the storm could not drown you, it is because your destiny is unsinkable. If the waves could not pull you under, it is because your calling always rises. If the winds could not scatter you, it is because your soul is anchored in something eternal. Storms do more than test. They teach. They strip away what cannot survive the sea. They reveal what is fragile and what is lasting. They show you that when everything shakes, your faith stands unmovable. Think of Jonah. He was running from his call, yet the storm redirected him. The winds did not destroy him, they turned him back to destiny. The waves did not swallow him, they pointed him home. What felt like wrath was actually mercy. Maybe that was your storm too. Maybe it came not to drown you, but to realign you, to awaken a deeper cry within you, to prove that even when you felt abandoned, heaven was closer than your breath. Storms are loud, but God speaks louder. Waves are high, but his hand is higher. The sea is wide, but his presence is deeper still. Look back. The storms that tried to destroy you became the very places where you found God's voice most clearly. Moments when you thought, "This is it, I can't go on." Those became the moments heaven spoke peace into your chaos. You are still standing because the storm could not take you. It shook you. It broke pieces off of you. But it could not end you, because your life is anchored not in circumstance, but in promise. So hear me. If the fire could not consume you, and the storm could not drown you, then what comes next is even greater. Beyond the storm lies the wilderness, a place of silence, a place of isolation, a place where heaven teaches who you really are. The fire proved you are unbreakable, the storm proved you are unsinkable, but the wilderness will prove you are unshakable. If the fire could not stop you and the storm could not drown you, then destiny led you into another place. Not of flames, not of waves, but of silence. The wilderness. Do you remember those seasons? Empty rooms, unanswered prayers, loneliness wrapping around you like a heavy cloak. It felt as if heaven had hidden its face. Your voice echoed into nothingness. Signs were faint, answers delayed. The wilderness is the training ground of destiny. It strips away distractions. It breaks false attachments. It silences the noise of the world so the whisper of heaven can be heard. Identities are forged there. Israel wandered 40 years in the desert, not because God forgot them, but because he was forming them. Deuteronomy 8:2 says, "Remember how the Lord your God led you all the way in the wilderness, to humble and test you in order to know what was in your heart." That's why you had to walk through seasons of silence. The desert was not abandonment. It was refinement, not punishment, but preparation. Think of John the Baptist. Before his voice shook nations, he lived in the wilderness, clothed in camel's hair, feeding on locusts and honey, hidden away but filled with fire. In isolation, he was prepared to declare, "Prepare the way of the Lord." Maybe that has been you, hidden, overlooked, wondering if anyone sees the weight you carry, invisible to men, but never to God. Because the wilderness is where He hides treasures until they are ready to be revealed. Yes, it was painful. Yes, it was lonely. But it shaped you. It carved endurance into your bones. It gave you eyes to see beyond appearances and ears to hear His whisper in the quiet. The wilderness exposes weakness, but it awakens authority. When everything else is stripped away, you discover who you truly are. When the crowd is gone, you find the audience of one. When noise is silenced, the true sound of your calling begins to rise. Do not despise those unseen years. They were sacred chisels in the hands of a master, shaping who you are becoming. Now look at you. You carry endurance that cannot be shaken, faith that cannot be silenced, authority forged in tears, prayer, and perseverance. This is why the enemy fears wilderness-trained warriors. They cannot be seduced by applause. They cannot be broken by rejection. They carry strength that comes only from solitude with God. If you survive the wilderness, you are dangerous to darkness, because you now know silence is not absence. Delay is not denial. Loneliness is not forgotten. The wilderness taught you that you are never truly alone, that your source is greater than your surroundings, that even in the driest places, living water flows from within you. But there is more, because after the wilderness comes the fiercest attacks, not because you are weak, but because you are ready. And what happens next will test you even deeper. The fire did not consume you. The storm did not drown you. The wilderness did not break you. Now the enemy's arrows will try to silence you. Are you ready to see why those attacks failed? The fire could not consume you. The storm could not drown you. The wilderness could not break you. So the enemy tried something else. He sharpened his arrows and aimed at your heart. You know what I mean? The betrayal that cut deeper than a sword. The rejection that left you gasping for air. The lies whispered in the dark. And the hardest part, attacks not from strangers, but from those you once trusted. Still, you are here. Not because the attacks weren't real or painful, but because heaven placed a shield around you. The one who called you promised, "No weapon formed against you shall prosper." Isaiah 54:17. The weapons were formed, but not authorized to succeed. The enemy tried to silence you, but only awakened you. Think of Joseph, betrayed by his brothers, thrown into a pit, sold into slavery. They thought his destiny was erased, yet every attack pushed him closer to the throne he was meant to occupy. What men meant for evil, God turned for good. That is your story too. The betrayals and losses became steps into your next season, proof that no force in hell can cancel what heaven has decreed. Yes, you bled. Yes, you wept. There were nights you whispered, "God, I can't take another blow." But the fact you are still here listening now means every arrow missed its final mark. They pierced, but did not paralyze. They wounded, but did not win. Your survival was not random, it was strategic. Each attack revealed strength you didn't know you had, resilience you didn't realize was inside you, and above all, the covering of the one who never left you. Think of David, hunted by Saul, betrayed by his own men, hiding in caves. In the shadows he wrote Psalms, discovering God's nearness. "The Lord is my light and my salvation, whom shall I fear?" Psalm 27:1. That became your declaration too. The attacks tried to birth fear, but instead birthed faith. The arrows tried to break you, but instead revealed your armor. The betrayals tried to silence you, but instead gave you a louder testimony. Look closely now. Every failed attack is proof. Proof you are not ordinary. Proof your destiny carries weight. Proof heaven has placed a seal on your life no darkness can erase. The enemy would not waste so much effort if you were not dangerous. The intensity of the attack is always evidence of the magnitude of the assignment. You were targeted because you are marked, and the very fact that you are still standing is proof you are unstoppable. But there is something deeper, because beyond the attacks comes resurrection. The moment when what was declared dead suddenly rises again. The moment when heaven breathes life into what others buried. The attacks failed because your story is not finished. The weapons failed because your assignment is still alive. And the enemy failed because resurrection is your portion. So lean in. What comes next is the greatest mystery. The revelation that everything buried in your life was never the end, but the beginning of greater glory. The fire did not consume you. The storm did not drown you. The wilderness did not erase you. The attacks did not end you. And now, it is time to speak of resurrection. Because your story is not only about survival, it is about revival. It is about the things that were buried and then brought back to life. Do you remember the seasons when everything seemed over? When your dreams lay in pieces? When your strength was gone? When hope itself felt like a corpse in the grave? Chosen one, those were not endings. Those were setups for resurrection. This is why the Spirit of God reminds us of Lazarus. 4 days in the tomb, 4 days of silence, 4 days of mourning. His sisters said, "It's too late. He is gone." But then the voice of Jesus pierced the silence. "Lazarus, come forth." And what was dead walked out alive. John 11:43-44. That is your testimony. What others declared dead in your life, God declared sleeping. What others buried, heaven was preparing to raise. Your resurrection moments are the undeniable proof that you are chosen. Think back. The dream you thought was finished suddenly flickered with life again. The joy you believed was gone forever suddenly returned. The strength you thought you had lost suddenly surged back into your bones. That was not coincidence. That was resurrection. Resurrection is not about going back to how things were. It is about being elevated into something greater. Lazarus did not come out of the tomb the same as before. He came out carrying testimony. He came out carrying proof that death itself must bow to the voice of Christ. That is why you carry such weight. Because your resurrection moments are more than personal victories. They are living prophecies. Every comeback in your life shouts to the world, "This one cannot be stopped. This one belongs to God. This one is chosen." Look at how many times you should have stayed down but didn't. Look at how many times the world wrote you off, but heaven wrote you back in. Look at how many times you were buried under grief, fear, or despair, yet you rose again. Chosen one. Resurrection is the signature of your story. Even Jesus himself shows us this truth. He was betrayed, beaten, crucified, laid in a tomb. The stone was rolled into place. Hell celebrated. But on the third day, he rose. And with him rose the promise that death is never the end for those marked by heaven. That resurrection power lives in you. Your resurrection is proof. Proof that heaven has the final word. Proof that no grave can hold what God has chosen. Proof that your destiny is stronger than death itself. But pause for a moment and reflect. Can you see how every stage led to this? The fire burned away the chains. The storm revealed your anchor. The wilderness formed your identity. The attacks awakened your authority. And now, the resurrection declares your victory. This is why you are still standing. This is why you cannot be explained. This is why your survival is more than chance, it is prophecy fulfilled. Listen carefully. Your resurrection moments are not only about you, they are about everyone who will witness your comeback. When people see you rise, they recognize the God who raised you. When people see your life restored, they realize heaven's power is real. Your resurrection becomes their invitation to believe. And yet, there is one more truth, one more revelation, one more key that ties everything together. It is the truth that most miss, the one that shifts everything, the one that explains why you survived the fire, the storm, the wilderness, the attacks, and even death itself. Chosen one, are you ready? Because what comes next is the deepest mystery of all, the final revelation that will confirm once and for all why you are here, why you survived, and why nothing can stop you. We have walked together through the fire that did not consume you, through the storm that could not drown you, through the wilderness that shaped you, through the attacks that failed, through the resurrection that lifted you. And now, it is time for the final revelation. The key that ties everything together. The truth that heaven has been whispering into your soul all along. Are you ready? Here it is. Your survival is not just proof of endurance. It is the signature of divine election. The fact that you are still here is the evidence, not your victories, not your accomplishments, not your strength, your survival. The nights you thought you wouldn't make it, but you did. The seasons you thought would end you, but they didn't. The pain you thought would bury you, but instead it birthed you. This is the truth most people miss. Survival itself is prophecy. Your scars are not marks of weakness. They are seals of chosenness. Every battle you endured was heaven's way of proving that your story cannot be erased. You see, beloved, purpose is stronger than pain. Calling is greater than chaos. Destiny is louder than death. That is why you survived. Because you are chosen. Because your mission is still alive. Because the author of your story has not yet written the end. So let this truth settle in your spirit. Everything you faced was not punishment. It was preparation. Everything you lost was not abandonment. It was alignment. Everything you survived was not meaningless. It was confirmation. Beloved, lift your head. Breathe deeply. Repeat after me now. My survival is my testimony. My scars are my crown. My pain was my classroom. My destiny is unstoppable. I am chosen. This is your moment of alignment. This is your moment of confirmation. This is the moment you realize that nothing in your past disqualifies you. Everything in your past prepared you. And now, as you step into the next chapter of your life, seal this word with action. Type in the comments, I am chosen. Not just as words, but as a declaration, as a decree, as a spiritual contract between your soul and heaven. And if this word spoke to you, like this video, not as routine but as agreement, subscribe, not just as habit, but as alignment. Share this with another chosen one, because your tribe is waiting for confirmation too. Let us close with a prayer. Father, I lift every chosen one under the sound of this message. Thank you for keeping them through fire, storm, wilderness, attack, and even the grave. Thank you for preserving them for such a time as this. I decree and declare, no weapon formed against them will prosper. Their scars will speak of victory. Their story will awaken others. And their survival will shine as proof of their chosenness. Amen. Chosen one, this is your time. You survived what was meant to kill you, and that survival is heaven's undeniable proof. Walk boldly now, because you are chosen.